Again Yahweh's anger burned against Israel, and he moved against David, saying against them, "Go count Israel and Judah." The king said to Joab, the captain of the army who was with him, "Now go back and forth through the tribes of Israel and Dan, even to Beersheba, and count the people, that I may know the sum of the people." Joab said to the king, "Now may Yahweh your king add to the people, however many they may be, 100 times, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king delight in this thing?" Notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the army. Joab and the captains of the army went out from the presence of the king to count the people of Israel. They passed over the Jordan and encamped in Aror, on the right side of the city that is in the middle of the valley of Gad, and to Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of Tahtim Hodshi, and they came to Dan Jaan and around to Sidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites. And they went out into the south of Judah at Beersheba. So when they had gone back and forth through the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. Joab gave up the sum of the counting of the people to the king, and there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. David's heart struck him after he had counted the people. David said to Yahweh, "I have sinned greatly in that which I have done. But now, Yahweh, I put away, I beg you, the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly." When David rose up in the morning, Yahweh's word came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and speak to David. Yahweh says, I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them, that I may do it to you." So Gad came to David and told him, saying, "Shall 7 years of famine come to you in your land? Or will you flee 3 months before your foes while they pursue you? Or shall there be 3 days' pestilence in your land? Now answer, and consider what answer I shall return to him who sent me." David said to Gad, "I am in distress. Let us now fall into Yahweh's hand, for his mercies are great. Let me not fall into man's hand." So Yahweh sent a pestilence on Israel from the morning even to the appointed time, and 70,000 men died of the people, from Dan even to Beersheba. When the angel stretched out his hand toward Jerusalem to destroy it, Yahweh relented of the disaster, and said to the angel who destroyed the people, "It is enough. Now withdraw your hand." Yahweh's angel was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. David spoke to Yahweh when he saw the angel who struck the people, and said, "Behold, I have sinned, and I have done perversely. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand be against me and against my father's house." Gad came that day to David and said, "Go up, build an altar to Yahweh on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite." David went up according to the saying of Gad, as Yahweh commanded. Araunah looked out and saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. Then Araunah went out and bowed himself before the king with his face to the ground. Araunah said, "Why has my lord the king come to his servant?" David said, "To buy your threshing floor, to build an altar to Yahweh, that the pledge may be stopped from afflicting the people." Araunah said to David, "Let the lord the king take up and offer what seems good to him. Behold, the cattle for burnt offering, the threshing sledges, and the yokes of the oxen for the wood. All this, O king, does Araunah give the king." Araunah said to the king, "May Yahweh your God accept you." The king said to Araunah, "No, but I will most certainly buy it from you for a price. I will not offer burnt offerings to Yahweh my God, which cost me nothing." So David brought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. David built an altar to Yahweh there, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So Yahweh was entreated for the land, and the plague was removed from Israel. Satan stood up against Israel and moved David to take a census of Israel. David said to Joab and to the people of the princes, "Go, count Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring me word that I may know how many there are." Joab said, "May Yahweh make his people 100 times as many as they are, but my lord the king, aren't they all my lord's servants? Why does my lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause of guilt to Israel?" Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. Therefore Joab departed and went throughout all Israel, then came to Jerusalem. Joab gave the sum of the census to the people to David. All those of Israel were 1,100,000 men who drew the sword, and in Judah were 470,000 men who drew the sword. But he didn't count Levi and Benjamin among them, for the king's word was abominable to Joab. God was greatly displeased with this thing. Therefore he struck Israel. David said to God, "I have sinned greatly in that I have done this thing. But now put away, I beg you, the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly." Yahweh spoke to Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and speak to David, saying, Yahweh says, I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them, that I may do it to you." So Gad came to David and said, "Yahweh says, take your choice, either 3 years of famine, or 3 months to be consumed before your foes, while the sword of your enemies overtakes you, or else 3 days of the sword with Yahweh, even pestilence in the land, and Yahweh's angel destroying throughout all the borders of Israel. Now therefore consider what answer I shall return to him who sent me." David said to Gad, "I am in distress. Let me fall, I pray, into Yahweh's hand, for his mercies are very great. Don't let me fall into man's hand." So Yahweh sent a pestilence on Israel, and 70,000 men of Israel fell. God sent an angel to Jerusalem to destroy it. As he was about to destroy, Yahweh saw, and he relented of the disaster, and said to the destroying angel, "It is enough. Now withdraw your hand." Yahweh's angel was standing by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David lifted up his eyes and saw Yahweh's angel standing between earth and the sky, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders, clothed in sackcloth, fell on their faces. David said to God, "Isn't it I who commanded the people to be counted? It is even I who have sinned and have done very wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand, O Yahweh my God, be against me and against my father's house, but not against your people, that they should be plagued." Then Yahweh's angel commanded Gad to tell David that David should go up and raise an altar to Yahweh on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spoke in Yahweh's name. Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons who were with him hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat. As David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David, and went out of the threshing floor, and bowed himself to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, "Sell me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar to Yahweh on it. You shall sell it to me full price, that the plague may be stopped from afflicting the people." Ornan said to David, "Take it for yourself, and let the Lord my king do that which is good for his eyes. Behold, I give the oxen for burnt offering, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for the meal offering. I give it all." King David said to Ornan, "No, but I will most certainly buy it for the full price, for I will not take that which is yours for Yahweh, nor offer a burnt offering that costs me nothing." So David gave to Ornan 600 shekels of gold by weight for the place. David built an altar to Yahweh there, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called on Yahweh, and he answered him from the sky by fire on the altar of burnt offerings. Then Yahweh commanded the angel, and he put his sword back into its sheath. At that time, when David saw that Yahweh had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, then he sacrificed there. For Yahweh's tabernacle, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of burnt offerings, were at that time in the high place of Gibeon. But David couldn't go before it to inquire of God, for he was afraid because of the sword of Yahweh's angel. Then David said, "This is the house of Yahweh God, and this is the altar of burnt offering for Israel." David gave orders to gather together the foreigners who were in the land of Israel, and he set masons to cut dressed stones to build God's house. David prepared iron in abundance for the nails for the door of the gates and for the couplings, and bronze in abundance without weight, and cedar trees without number. For the Sidonians and the people of Tyre bought cedar trees in abundance to David. David said, "Solomon, my son, is young and tender, and the house that is to be built for Yahweh must be exceedingly magnificent, of fame and glory throughout all countries. I will therefore make preparation for it." So David prepared abundantly before his death. Then he called for Solomon his son, and commanded him to build a house for Yahweh, the God of Israel. David said to Solomon his son, "As for me, it was in my heart to build a house to the name of Yahweh my God. But Yahweh's word came to me, saying, 'You have shed blood abundantly, and have made great wars. You shall not build a house to my name, because you have shed much blood on the earth in my sight. Behold, a son shall be born to you, who shall be a man of peace. I will give him rest from all his enemies all around. For his name shall be Solomon, and I will give peace and quietness to Israel in his days. He shall build a house for my name, and he will be my son, and I will be his father, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom over Israel forever. Now, my son, may Yahweh be with you and prosper you, and build the house of Yahweh your God, as he has spoken concerning you. May Yahweh give you discretion and understanding, and put you in charge of Israel, so that you may keep the law of Yahweh your God. Then you will prosper, if you observe to do the statutes and the ordinances which Yahweh gave Moses concerning Israel. Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid, and don't be dismayed. Now behold, in my affliction I have prepared Yahweh's house 100,000 talents of gold, 1,000,000 talents of silver, and bronze and iron without weight. For it is in abundance. I have also prepared timber and stone, and you may add to them. There are also workmen with you in abundance, cutters and workers of stone and timber, and all kinds of men who are skillful in every kind of work. Of the gold, the silver, the bronze, and the iron there is not number. Arise and be doing, and may Yahweh be with you." David also commanded all the princes of Israel to help Solomon his son, saying, "Isn't Yahweh your God with you? Hasn't he given you rest on every side? For he has delivered the inhabitants of the land into my hand, and the land is subdued before Yahweh and before his people. Now set your heart and your soul to follow Yahweh your God. Arise, therefore, and build the sanctuary of Yahweh God, to bring the ark of Yahweh's covenant and the holy vessels of God into the house that is to be built for Yahweh's name." A psalm, a song for the dedication of the temple, by David. I will extol you, Yahweh, for you have raised me up, and have not made my foes to rejoice over me. Yahweh my God, I cried to you, and you have healed me. Yahweh, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. You have kept me alive that I should not go down to the pit. Sing praise to Yahweh, you saints of his. Give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but a moment, his favour is for a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning. As for me, I said in my prosperity, I shall never be moved. You, Yahweh, when you favored me, made my mountains stand strong. But when you hid your face, I was troubled. I cried to you, Yahweh. I made supplication to the Lord. What profit is there in my destruction if I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise you? Shall it declare your truth? Hear, Yahweh, and have mercy on me. Yahweh, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have removed my sackcloth and clothed me with gladness, to the end that my heart may sing praise to you and not be silent. Yahweh my God, I will give thanks to you forever. A Song, a Psalm by David. My heart is steadfast, God. I will sing, and I will make music with my soul. Wake up, higher and larp. I will wake up the dawn. I will give thanks to you, Yahweh, among the nations. I will sing praises to you among the peoples. For your loving kindness is great above the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches to the skies. Be exalted, God, above the heavens. Let your glory be over all the earth, that your beloved may be delivered. Save with your right hand and answer us. God has spoken from his sanctuary. In triumph I will divide Shechem and measure out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is my helmet. Judah is my scepter. Moab is my washpot. I will toss my sandal on Edom. I will shout over Philistia. Who will bring me into the fortified city? Who will lead me to Edom? Haven't you rejected us, God? You don't go out, God, with our armies. Give us help against the enemy, for the help of man is vain. Through God we will do valiantly, for it is he who will tread down our enemies. For the chief musician, a psalm by David. God of my praise, don't remain silent. For they have opened up the mouth of the wicked, and the mouth of deceit against me. They have spoken to me with a lying tongue. They have also surrounded me with words of hatred, and fought against me without a cause. In return for my love, they are my adversaries, but I am in prayer. They have rewarded me evil for good, and hatred for my love. Set a wicked man over him. Let an adversary stand at his right hand. When he is judged, let him come out guilty. Let his prayer be turned into sin. Let his days be few. Let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. Let his children be wandering beggars. Let them be sought from their ruins. Let the creditors seize all that he has. Let strangers plunder the fruit of his labour. Let there be no one to extend kindness to him, neither let there be anyone to have pity on his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off. In the generation following, let their name be blotted out. Let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered by Yahweh. Don't let the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let them be before Yahweh continually, that he may cut off their memory from the earth, because he didn't remember to show kindness, but persecuted the poor and needy man. You broken in heart to kill them. Yes, he loved cursing, and it came to them. He didn't delight in blessing, and it was far from him. He clothed himself also with cursing, as with a garment. It came into his inward parts like water, like oil into his bones. Don't let it be to him as the clothing with which he covers himself, for the belt that is always around him. This is the reward of my adversaries from Yahweh, of those who speak evil against my soul. But deal with me, Yahweh the Lord, for your name's sake. Because your loving kindness is good, deliver me. For I am poor and needy. My heart is wounding within me. I fade away like an evening shadow. I am shaken off like a locust. My knees are weak through fasting. My body is thin and lacks fat. I have also become a reproach to them. When they see me, they shake their head. Help me, Yahweh my God. Save me according to your loving kindness, that they may know that it is your hand, that you, Yahweh, have done it. They may curse, but you bless. When they arise, they will be shamed, but your servant shall rejoice. Let my adversaries be clothed with dishonor. Let them cover themselves with their own shame, as with a robe. I will give great thanks to Yahweh with my mouth. Yes, I will praise him among the multitude, for he will stand at the right hand of the needy, to save him from those who judge his soul. A Psalm by David. Yahweh says to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make enemies your footstools for your feet. Yahweh will send out the rod of your strength out of Zion. Rule among your enemies. Your people offer themselves willingly in the day of your power, in holy array. Out of the womb of the morning you have the dew of your youth. Yahweh has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek. The Lord is at your right hand. He will crush kings in the day of his wrath. He will judge among the nations. He will heap up dead bodies. He will crush the ruler of the whole earth. He will drink of the brook on the way. Therefore he will lift up his head.